Hello, I'm Debbie Bell Hosking for FinextraTV in the virtual studio, bringing you a segment of our Sibos 2024 series. And I'm talking to Peter Reynolds of Mastercard. We're going to be chatting about all things real-time payments, innovation, and interoperability. So, Peter, a great welcome to our virtual studio.
Thanks, Debbie. Delighted to be here.
You heard me mention real-time payments in the introduction there. I think if we can start off, please, it would be great to hear your point of view on what you see as the latest developments in real-time payments.
Well, we're in a new era of real-time payments now with over 100 countries with real-time payment systems covering 87% of the world's GDP. Those schemes are now in place. And what we're seeing is terrific growth, 22% compound annual growth forecast for the next 5 years, and a huge growth in account-to-account payments. And at Mastercard, we are powering 12 different countries covering 4 economies and 5 out of the top 50 GDP countries. So we get quite a look around the globe as to how these systems are growing. And a lot of this growth is being driven by the conversion of cash and people being brought into the financial ecosystem and converting cash to now digital payments. And you can see that growth around the world. If you look at Thailand, for example, India, Brazil with PIX, Philippines, you see this terrific growth. That's being driven by getting people into the financial ecosystem. It's being driven by the opening up of wallets and people paying with their phones now, for example, and opening up acceptance with QR code and being able to pay now digitally wherever they go. And you can see those starting to be opened up cross-border as well. But it's not just about the switching capability. Yes, we provide very strong, resilient, safe, secure payments and switching. Also, the fraud and scam protection that sits behind that. That's an area that we see that consumers are looking for to ensure that when you're making a payment, that it's safe and protected, and there are protections in place that can perhaps intervene if there is some sort of scam going on. And of course, we're seeing a greater demand in interoperability between these 100 schemes.
So you're giving me lots to bounce off here, Peter. Growth, you're talking about a lot of growth and the innovation that is supporting that and interoperability. So if I can round that up in a question, how do you see innovation and interoperability supporting that industry growth?
That's a great question. I think really when we look at the forefront of innovation, that is around interoperability. And let me just unpack that for a moment. Interoperability, we can be talking about 2 different schemes in a country. So, for example, in the US, we see TCH and FedNow. And what's the level of interoperability there? There's the interoperability between faster payments and other forms of payments like central bank digital currency and other digital assets, tokenized assets. And then there's the interoperability between schemes cross-border. And if I perhaps start with one of those, which is the interoperability between faster payments and other forms of payments, I think you've seen around the world governments announcing central bank digital currencies. And that's very exciting, where we can take a faster payment switch that has the ability to do multiple currencies. So, for example, we did that in Peru with US dollars and Sol. We can provide switching of local currency, for example, the Great British Pound and the digital pound in that space. So that's an exciting area that we're exploring, and how to provide that kind of capability, as well as you see many countries also looking at a second scheme or an alternative scheme. And how do you deal with managing liquidity pools between banks there, or the connectivity and participation of all of the banks, the PSBs, payment service providers, and other fintechs into that system. So that's really on the forefront of innovation of faster payments.
And let's take interoperability a step further. How does it differ domestically versus internationally And what impact does this have on cross-border payments?
Well, that's a great question, because today you can make fast, seamless, quick payments domestically, whether in the US, whether you're in India, whether you're in the UK. And the question I'm often sort of stopped by people I meet, so, well, why can't I make this payment to my relative who's living in the US or Thailand or somewhere else? So there is a lot of work to looking at cross-border schemes at the moment, and you see interoperability, in particular of wallets with QR that are emerging around the world. But that's being taken further to the connectivity of schemes. There's work between looking at the US and Europe, certainly in Asia with the ASEAN 5 and India, how to interconnect these schemes. There is still work to be done on that in terms of harmonizing settlement frameworks, anti-money laundering, and various data protection things. So we're not seeing that, we're seeing it develop and people are pursuing that. But it's certainly something that's coming. It's something that's certainly technically capable to be done. And I think we'll expect that in the near years to come.
Peter, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to hear all your opinions, especially from your point of view. So great to have you in the studio. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie.